Welcome to the World of Warcraft General Q&A panel. Here to answer your questions are Chris Metzen, Tom Chilton, J. Allen Brack, Chris Robinson, Greg Street, and Corey Stockton.
Hey, Blizzcon. You guys having a good show?
We know.
What do you want to talk about today?
We'll dive right into it. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
Let's
bring it
get
on.
started.
Let's go. First one.
How you doing, fellas? As a 10-man raider, let me preface my question by saying that there's a lot of disparity between the 25-man raids and the 10-man raids, to the point that 10-man raids almost feel laughably easier. But there's a lot of hardcore players that still raid 10-mans. We just don't need 15 extra people to do it. When Heroic Magmaw came out, 25-man raiders couldn't do it in 10-man on Heroic. When can we expect to see the difficulty raised for 10-mans?
So it's interesting because over in Korea, there are more, the hardcore guilds there are considered to be the 10-player guilds, whereas in the West, it's the 25. So I don't think it's a blanket statement that 10 is always much easier than 25. They are definitely hard to balance together. We just can't do the same kind of things, and there's only 10 players we can at 25. It's hard to kill players or take them out of the action. It's hard to know the comp they'll have. They may not have every raid buff. They may not have every utility they need. It's definitely our goal to deliver on having them the same. We just have to sometimes go in there and surgically make things harder or easier, depending on, whether it's harder or easier for 10 or 25.
Is there a chance that you'll go to a 10 versus 20-man just to make the balancing between the two easier?
It's pretty hard every time we change raid size, and if you're saying take 25 down to 20, you're basically asking your guild to kick 5 people, which is pretty brutal to ask.
I honestly don't think that would really make it any easier. We'd still have similar problems.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. First, thanks for the Real ID dungeon thing. It's awesome. My question is, do you have any plans to implement, and what are the obstacles to implementing some sort of spectator mode for raids or battlegrounds?
That would be sweet. That's something that we've wanted for a long time. I would love to have spectator mode. I'd also love to have replays integrated into the client. But it's just a question of being able to get around to doing it. So someday, hopefully. I hope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Richard Boone. I'm the guild leader for Wild and Musical on Chandris. And my question is, do you have any plans on adding more options to the guild leaders UI? So as I can give more options like to a banker or to my different officers, since I'm the only one that can turn guild repairs on and off. I'm the only one that can do certain things in there. I have good officers. I'm here for a week and nobody can do anything with the guild.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good reason that we would want to do that. I think it just comes down to the fact of how much control do we feel like is safe to give to other people besides the guild leader. So it's just a matter of figuring out which things we would want to have other people be able to do, as far as if we're just talking about having access to the guild bank or possibly changing being able to turn guild repairs on and off. But it definitely sounds like something that could be useful.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be the guild leader's decision, not yours?
It is the guild leader's decision, but once something goes wrong, it ends up coming back to us to have to fix it. So it's a matter of making sure that we give enough of that control to the right people.
All right. And one last thing. Ghost Crawler, don't listen to any of the idiots out there. You're a god. We love you. Keep doing it.
Love you too, man.
I just like you.
If all the idiots could please just identify themselves as idiots first so we can ignore you, that'd be great.
I was just wondering, with the upcoming expansion, are all the purples you get from like Firelands and all that going to be replaced by greens on the first day?
Usually we
Check
try
the
to...
shirt. Green is the new purple every expansion.
We're caught there because we want players who felt like they worked really hard to get the best gear to have a leg up when a new expansion starts. So we want it to last a little while. If it lasts too long, then we feel like we're cheating those players out of the leveling experience. So usually it's somewhere in the second zone or so before you start to see your gear get replaced. We'll probably do something similar in 5.0.
I have a dream, though. I have a dream
You
that...
stand up for this?
Yeah, we should. That one day we'll be able to have something like on our website, for example, that I imagine as being something like the Hall of Heroes that will kind of record the accomplishments that you made as a player during the patch cycle when that content was relevant. So let's say, for example, that you killed Ragnaros during patch 4.2, that we would record it there in the Hall of Heroes so that we can better preserve player accomplishments when they were the most relevant, so that all that kind of history isn't lost as we move on to another expansion or another patch.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm really excited about the Alliance and Horde races getting the monk class. I was just wondering how you guys are going to fit the Draenei and the Blood Elves getting the monks. Is it going to be a somewhat of a starter zone reset, or is it kind of be like, just throw it in there, it was always there?
Probably throw it in as if it was always there.
All right.
Chris, got a better suggestion?
Yeah, wonderful suggestion. Just throw it in. We're the ones that get yelled at. It doesn't fit. What? Told you. We'll make it work.
All right, then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to quickly say hi to my guildies in Trivial and Hygel. And my question pertains to hunters and crowd control. Currently, with Wyvern Sting having the dot, it makes it a little difficult to, quickly Wyvern Sting and then trap the thing after. So what I'm wondering is, before Cataclysm, we had the option of removing the dot with Scorpion Sting, but then that was removed. So is there going to be some way to remove that dot or going forward, or are we just going to have to live with it?
We're at a weird place right now for questions like that because it's probably not the kind of thing we're going to do in 4.3. And then 5.0 is such a big reset for a lot of the class abilities and talents that it's kind of silly for me to sit up here and explain this is the mechanic we have to solve that problem. I understand the problem, of course, because, like as you said, we have fixed it before, and we try to strike the balance between we don't want everyone dotting up their targets before they then crowd control them and their damage is ticking away, and we don't want the crowd control to always have to break on damage and things like that. So definitely a problem, and hopefully it'll feel a little better in 5.0.
Thank you.
Hi. First, I want to say thank you for finally addressing the Enhancement Shaman AoE issues that we've been dealing with for so long. We really, really appreciate it. My question is about wind shear. In the 4.3 blog, you stated that the change wouldn't affect DPS shamans because they all take reverb. However, most PvP and PvE enhancement shaman specs don't even take reverb. So instead of nerfing Resto PvP, You've caused enhancement in PvE to take a DPS hit to get the utility we already have, and you've caused enhancement in PvP to no longer be able to do sub-spec resto, taking a pretty big survivability hit. So do you have any plans to address that?
We're honestly not that worried about it for 4.3. I think even in a 10-player raid, you usually have plenty of people who can do the can do the interrupting, so even if you don't have someone with that talent, you're probably okay. We often, when we're asking a group to do interrupts like that, we know there's several people who can do it and they can do rotations and things like that. In PvP, honestly, we see a lot of Shaman with the that talent spec anyway, so I don't think for a lot of them they're going to lose that. There may be some that have to make the choice between that and not having it. But even then, it's still an interrupt. It doesn't completely go away. It just has a long cooldown.
Thank you.
Hi. Just one thing right quick. Please bring back Illidan Stormrage. I hate to see such a great character fall into obscurity. My question is, do you guys hate enhancement shamans? They're always suboptimal. They're barely relevant in PvP, especially in Arena and 2v2. DPS is always suboptimal. Are you going to do anything to fix that?
I think we should answer the Illidan question.
Yeah, Illidan, we can... would you guys want to see Illidan come back? Think about that.
It doesn't seem like they're interested in him coming back.
We'll work on it.
How about a newer, more powerful version named Skillidan?
Clearly. Love that.
No, I hear you on the enhancement issues. We try to make sure that the classes have options, and it's particularly challenging for, and by options I mean, okay, so maybe Frost in PvE isn't that awesome, but you can go Fire Arcane, and you're not a Frost mage, but you're still basically filling the same role and doing the same thing. It's really challenging with Shaman. We don't feel like it's as fair to say, just go Elemental, dude, because it's totally different style of play, it's different gear and everything like that. So, on the PvP front, gosh, there's a lot of stuff I could go into there. It has to do with, you know, uptime of melee, interrupts, how powerful the spells are at the moment, all of stuff we want to try to address in 5.0, and maybe we can talk about some of our plans there soon. In PvE, we think they're generally doing fine when they have opportunities to just sit there and wail away on a boss. They're one of those, they really get punished by a lot of frequent movement, and we hope some of the, you know, some of the changes we have in 4.3 to the AE and things like that will make them feel a little better. Casters overshadow melee a lot right now. Part of that is because a lot of casters now have a big orange staff. That will be a little better in 5.0 as well. I mean, in 4.3 as well.
Thank you.
Hi. First, Ghostcrawler, want to let you know you still have an invite on Vigorous and Arius. You said something about going to see a lady backstage. Never heard from you, so if you're done with a lady, you know. But anyway, my question's about combat rogues. And it kind of feels like now that Haste gives energy back and we have Restless Blades, it kind of wants us to do everything real quick. Yet Bandit's Guile says kind of hold off on it. And that really never worked out because it's only, you know, 0.5% maybe to wait till Deep Insight. So do you guys like combat using their cooldowns and stuff more often, or do you want them to do the cyclical thing that you talked about before?
The cyclical thing we talked about before?
Where you want them to hold off till the 30% buffs so they can use all their cooldowns and then be more awesome.
I'm not quite sure I understand. You're saying, should you use your cooldowns on rotation versus should you save them for the right moment, or?
No, what I'm saying is it seems like Restless Blades wants you to use everything on cooldown when it's off, and Bandit's Guile wants you to use your cooldowns when you're at 30%.
I would say the Restless Blades option.